Spectacular sunrise over the Sea of Galilee and the sun popping up here over the Golan Heights. You know you're in the right place if you see these signs on the table. And here's Father Conlon and Janet going through the buffet line. And great food here. Nobody complains. Some fresh smoked salmon here too. And our Mater D. David. And here are some of the spread and the food we had and the people enjoying it. Our 2 buses ready to go. We run a tight ship. On time you have to be. Bus 1 and bus 2. And here's Father Conlon opening in prayer. Every day begins with prayer and a pilgrimage.
And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And as we climb the Mount of the Beatitudes, we sing psalms to the Lord with the harp, with the sound of music. With trumpet and the sound of the horn, we acclaim the King, the Lord. Hail Mary.
Our first stop is the Mount of Beatitudes. Here's the Church of Beatitudes. We're going to stop here for Mass. Everybody loves it. It's always hard to get people to leave. This is the place where Jesus taught the Sermon on the Mount.
Let us give thanks to the Lord our God.
It is right and just.
It is truly right and just to give you thanks, and to raise to you a hymn of glory and praise, O Lord, Father of infinite goodness. For by the word of your Son's gospel,
The first mystery that we pray along the way, the third luminous mystery, the proclamation of the gospel.
Banyan tree. I do want to share one part of the story. The last time I was on this pilgrimage with Steve and Janet, there was a young man who sat in the seat right behind me every day, and he would talk to me about his faith journey and how he felt the Lord was calling him. And last August 15th, I was present when he took first temporary vows as a Dominican in Cincinnati. So any of you who've got young sons who would like to have a priest in the family, bring them up and seat them here. Because you never know what the Lord might do.
And the 25 people that were in that Mass were standing in line, and John Paul, he was able to walk then down the line and greet and speak with each one of us. Well, he got a few people away from Steve, and Steve started bawling. He did not get one word out of his mouth, if you can believe it. But I was down on my knees. Holy Father, will you please pray for me? I want to raise up a priest for the Lord. He had his hands on my face and on my head and on my shoulders, and he was praying for me, and we were talking a little bit, and it was just so special. And I thought, oh, for sure, I'm going to get pregnant.
Driving through the Golan Heights in the bus, we arrive at Banyas, the place of Matthew 16, Caesarea Philippi, where Jesus said, "You are Peter, and on this rock I'll build my church."
And there was a big city, and he was building it into a capital city, thus the name Caesarea Philippi, Caesar Philip. That's how it got its name. Before that, it was called Panias, because there was a god Pan worshipped here, and therefore Panias was the city of Pan. Now it's called Banyas. Why? Well, it went back to its original name of Panias, but in Arabic, which is mainly who everybody lives up here is Arabic, they don't have the letter P in their alphabet. So when the Pope came here, instead of saying Papa, Papa, it was Baba, Baba.
So here's our folks in front of the rock at Caesarea Philippi. Look at that massive rock where Jesus said, "I will name you rock."
There was a cave here. It still is. It used to have water in the bottom. The gods lived down there. They had big temple. Show you a picture of it in a minute. And they would throw their living sacrifices into the temple, the gates of hell. And Pan, the god Pan, was there, where the city got its name, Banyas. So everybody's picking up a stone to take home to remember that these rocks, if they had a mouth and ears, would tell you what they heard Jesus say 2,000 years ago here at Caesarea Philippi in Matthew chapter 16. Well, we've arrived here for lunch. There's our two buses. We are at the Ren Lebanoni restaurant for falafel and Drew's bread sandwiches.
Here's one to pass.
Here's our Drew's bread sandwiches made in advance, put on the grill. Here's the lady she's the owner here, the owner's mother. And here's our sandwiches being made, and we're all going in and getting seated. How do you like your salads and sandwiches? Awesome. How's everybody like it, okay?
Good, yeah.
We now drive back down to the Sea of Galilee, and our first stop is Tabgha, where Jesus multiplied the loaves and fish. And yes, it was a real miracle. And here Amer's explaining it all, and we talk about Jesus' time and what he did here in Tabgha.
Deserted place, or not really, just any place. This is an industrial zone. And earlier, if you were laughing at me and Nina trying to move that's actually an olive press, what we're talking about over there. And we found a number
You tried to move it?
olive presses here. This is where they produced olive oil at the time. As a matter of fact, if you look next to the excavations that revealed to us the church, we found the famous highway that started at the time in Capernaum, passed through here.
Amer's explaining the Church of Tabgha, where the multiplication of loaves and fish took place. And we're next going to come inside the church. This is the atrium, olive tree there in the center. And we'll come into the church. This is where our group is coming next to venerate the place where the multiplication took place and to pray. I'll show you the rock upon which Jesus performed the miracle, and the ancient mosaic from the 6th century of the loaves and fish.
After a 2-minute drive with our other bus right in front of us, we come to the Primacy of Peter, get off the bus, and we go down to the place where Peter was appointed a shepherd. It's a nice walk down through the palm trees, and I give one of my favorite talks here about John chapter 21.
Eternity at the end of time, and place the net at Jesus' feet at the shores of eternity. The net represents the church. There were a lot of fish in it. How many fish were in the net? 153. Who said that? 150. Did somebody else say 153? I want to give you credit if you did. Okay. I always said 157. And Janet said, Steve, it's 153. How come you keep saying 157? And I realize it's because there's 157 kinds of Heinz ketchup in that number. So now I have to think 157 Heinz, take away 4, 153 fish in the net. And it says 153. Why would John, who counted all the stinking fish? They just come in at night. Jesus is there. They're going to have breakfast. Somebody counted all those stinking fish. 153. Why make a point of that? St. Jerome, doctor of the church, said that at the time of Christ it was considered that there were 153 different nations, languages, and tongues. I see heads bobbing, eyes going, ooh, yes. Representative in that net, which represents the church, is every nation, language, and tongue. It's a universal church. So this is the church of the Primacy of Peter, also called the church of the Mensa Christi, the table of Christ. And our group is now in here venerating the rock. So I'm going to bring you up to the front. Here's our kids. Aren't they cute? I love showing kids the Holy Land. But I'm going to take you up and show you the rock here in front of the church. See here the three hearts representing I love you, I love you, I love you. Egeria, the nun from Spain, said she saw these stones here in 380 when she came. She also saw these steps carved into the rock. There was no church at the time, going up to the place where Jesus fed the disciples. This is certain attestation to the truth of this site. And now we see the Sea of Galilee where Jesus was on the shore calling them in from fishing. Back to the hotel. Our two buses are now parking for the night. We have 2.5 hours free before dinner so everybody can kind of rest up because it's the first full day. And dinner's at 6:30 and then they can go to bed early. Tomorrow we head to Mount Tabor. So here's the staff. They're so good to us all the time. Happy New Year. Here's the schedule for tomorrow. And look at this nice sign we have here. Welcome to the Holy Land. Who are those two people? Footprints of God. Welcome to Holy Land, Sea of Galilee. And then down here we have corporate travel and Amr Shahada there with the best tours. So we're in good hands. So I'm going to show you outside a little bit, but it's New Year's Eve tonight, and we're going to just call it a day today. From that section of Galilee there where Jesus was, Mount of Beatitudes and Primacy of Peter and Tabgha, now we're back at the hotel, and we have some people swimming. It's December 31st. It's a little cold, but there's some folks down there swimming in the Sea of Galilee. I think they just want to be able to say they did it. Well, it's New Year's Eve, and so we are calling it a day, and we are going to, these are our rooms here. Enjoy the evening, have dinner at 6:30 after some free time, and we're signing off for tonight. We'll see you next year. Tomorrow's January 1st.